All right. For those of you who are still here, I'm going to give a message on digesting change. Wasn't planning to follow up Pastor Adonia's message last week, but seems to be the season of life that we're in, so that's kind of part of it. I've had a very unusually sentimental week this week. I don't typically think of myself as a very sentimental person, but I was really hit by some strong emotions this week. And many of you know, we've been through a lot of changes in the last few months. Adonia was running a school for 5 years that we finished, and we bought a house with my parents, and we moved in, and those were some changes that we knew were happening. But then there's been a lot of other kind of things going on in our life that caught me by surprise a little bit. And I think that it was a lot for me to maybe digest in a short time. We had some very close friends who've been pastors for a long time. We kind of been pastoring together, and they, like us, kind of long-term plans to pastor for, long time. And they, kind of let us know that they were stepping down, so that was a little bit of a surprise. And there's been some kind of difficult illnesses and sickness, not so much in our own family, but just like in the periphery of our life as pastors. And then the other big thing is that I have started to experience the reality that my kids are not kids anymore. And I think that many of you already know what that's like. But it's new for me. And it's been a very interesting experience because, we had the little babies, 16 years ago. And then, we've done our best to made a lot of sacrifices like all parents do because, my worst nightmare. Like all parents, you want your kids to have the best life. You want your kids to have the life you didn't have. And you don't mind making those sacrifices and doing whatever needs to happen to do that. But then comes a moment where you realize, you did what you could do, and you'll always be needed, but your kids are standing up on their own feet, and they maybe don't really need you so much anymore for all those little things. And I didn't realize how hard that would be to experience. I mean, our kids are still relatively young, so I think I'm just in the beginning of it. But it's awful. It feels awful. But it's not a bad thing. It's just a shifting and change of life. And it's kind of one of those things where you think, oh, wait, we know what that's, it's kind of like when you're a couple and you don't have kids. You're like, well, I kind of know what that's going to be like. Or, your kids are getting older and you're like, oh, I know, eventually they're going to grow up and move out and stuff. But it's like, but then you get hit with the actual experience, and there's all the emotions and all the different things involved that you're not ready for it. There's just no way. You can't be. It's impossible. When the kids were younger, we felt, oh, it's really good to have pets, right? So we bought guinea pigs for the boys, and then Mia had a rabbit that we got from the Loves, and Annalise has her snake, and then we have the dog and the cat. And, it's been wonderful. And we got, a big part of this we got for the kids. And now those pets are getting old. And also this past week, the guinea pigs, we thought they were kind of sick because they kind of stopped eating. But then we looked it up, and actually they were just old. They just decided that, or whatever their biology decided, that this was their time. Both of them at the same time decided that they were just kind of done living. They stopped eating and they just kind of like made themselves comfortable. And it's like all this stuff all happening at once. And for me, it was just like, man, this is like, I can't deal with all of this. Like, it's just way too much real life for me. But also beyond all of that, it was just kind of it's been a reflective week for me. Also reflecting a lot on my relationship with my boys, especially because they're the oldest. And just, there's some regret there. There's some regret. There's some, I feel like I've been so busy in my life, doing good things. But I definitely missed some stuff that was really important. And so I was, in preparation for this message, I was looking for some different quotes and Bible verses and things like that, and I found something from, where is it? Ecclesiastes, I think. And it's kind of like a personal sharing from King Solomon. I just wanted to share a little. You've probably heard some of it before, but it was kind of interesting. He's reflecting on his own life. So he says, the end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions. Wisdom, like an inheritance, is a good thing and benefits those who see the sun. So those who, if you're alive, you benefit from wisdom. Wisdom is a shelter as money is a shelter, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it. Consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has made crooked? When times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. In this meaningless life of mine, I have seen both of these: the righteous perishing in their righteousness, and the wicked living long in their wickedness. So he's saying that he's seen good people die early or die of their goodness, and wicked people getting to live a long life, seemingly flourishing. Do not be over-righteous, neither be over-wise. Why destroy yourself? Do not be over-wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before your time? It is good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. So, as I've been reflective on my own life, it was interesting to read about Solomon's reflection on his life. Even though this happened 2,000 years ago or whatever it is, some things never change, right? We went to like a VR immersive, I don't know what you call it, like a tour of ancient Egypt. It's like a thing that you can do now. It's not really a new thing, but they're kind of packaging it as a whole experience. You can pay a little bit of money, and they take you to a place, and you put in your VR headset, and then they guide you, and you walk around, and you can see what the ancient Egypt was like, and the people were like at that time. And I remember one of the things I was thinking about when I was doing the VR thing was like, it's interesting because these people lived 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. And in some ways, their life doesn't really look that different than ours. It was kind of interesting. But in my reflections, I really was thinking about all of this, and it kind of hurts in some ways. I was really feeling like, oh man, I missed some part of my kid's life. that part, I'm never going to be able to get it back. There's definitely a sense of loss there to some degree, even though it's not gone. But they're still there. But there's different ways that you can take this experience. There's different ways that we can go about change, and we can go about loss or shifts in our life. But one thing that I was reflecting on is that I really believe that God made life to be rich with experience. We go through so many different seasons of life. Some things that we would probably prefer to avoid. But God made it that way for a reason. You know, if we look at nature, we see that not every animal or everything that God created lives the way we do. There's many, when you have a baby, there's many animals, and they push the baby out, and the baby's walking around doing its thing. Like the quail, we have quail. And quail, they're born, and in like 6 to 8 weeks, they're mature, and they can have other quail. And, like horses, cows, they push the baby out, and the baby is walking around in a few minutes. And many animals don't have a personal relationship with their kids. So God could have made us that way, hypothetically. God didn't. I'm just saying it. We take it for granted because it is the way it is, right? But it didn't have to be that way. God didn't have to make it that way. It's not like everything is that way. God could have made it so that human children just are independent. They come out, and then they're walking around and they're grown up in a few months. God could have made it that way. But God intentionally made it a certain way. And the way he made it is kind of hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. But he gave us this opportunity to be able to experience something that we could only experience if it happened that way. And the principle tells us that the reason God made it that way, or the reason why God made our life the way it is so that we could, through our life, we could understand God. We could inherit God's heart. We could inherit God's character through being able to experience the things that God experiences. When we have the experience of receiving love from our parents, and when we have the experience of what it feels like to love your children, it teaches us who God is. And it teaches us how much God loves us. How would we ever know otherwise? It's impossible. It's just concept. But we experience it through our own life, our own opportunity to experience what it means to raise a human being. And unfortunately, we don't always do a good job. We make mistakes, we have regret, we have guilt. There's always going to be changes happening in our lives. There's always going to be changes happening in the world, changes happening in the movement. You know, I'm not saying that we should ignore or disregard these things. But just like King Solomon said, it's good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. It's good to be aware of and be involved where we choose to be. But don't let it be everything. Don't let yourself forget about the important people in your life, the opportunities you have now in the present moment that you may not have in the future. Sometimes it's hard to accept change. We all know people that can't accept change or resist change. Sometimes it's just not being able to let go of youthful beauty, like the celebrities who want to stay the same, the way they looked in their 20s. Or, this happens a lot with people who are in the military, right? You have a strong sense of purpose and a proper position, but then when you're not in the military, it's hard to feel like you have that purpose anymore. Or it can be something very personal, not being able to let go of guilt or to let go of anger or resentment because of someone that did you wrong. But change is an important part of our life that we have to learn to embrace. I love this quote from our true Father. I love having an opportunity to share it and remind myself. He says, "I'll tell you one thing very clearly. If there is a place to escape and hide from this life, one clever person would have already done it, and that is me. I packed many times and tried to find a place to go and hide, but I found no place to go, so I unpacked again. You and I have a common destiny. Do not think you are in one group and I in another. No, we are in the same boat. However you think is precisely how I have been thinking." So he is giving us permission to not like change, to want to run away from change. But he's also letting us know that we can't really run away. And he discovered that firsthand. So there is a process to change, and that's probably like a whole nother sermon. But it's something that we as human beings, and I would say as a church movement, are not particularly good at. Because oftentimes we have to take time and reflection and prayer to digest what was before and what could have been. Because many times what could have been is not the reality that we're living in. Things don't always and often don't work out the way we expect. And there's loss there that has to be digested. And there may be regret and guilt as well. But then, once we've had that opportunity, once we've gone through that, then there's an opportunity to embrace the future and what that can still be. And I really feel like this is where we meet God. I don't think that God is dwelling in the realm of what could have been or what should have been. But God is dwelling in the realm of what will be and what can be, what is possible. The Bible shows us the story of God and how he's worked in history. And what we see is that God had good plans. Many things did not go the way that God wanted. But God has not changed. And despite all the changes that we experience in life, and all the changes that we will, and all the changes in the world, it is the one thing that will never change, and that is our God. And I think that if we can inherit some of that same perspective and heart in our life, then we will see more of God in the changes that we do experience. That was a very simple message, but I hope there was something there for you. And please join me in prayer. Dearest Heavenly Parent, thank you for this morning and for this gathering, for everybody who came. Heavenly Parent, we know that you see our lives more fully than we do. And we many times really struggle with the changes happening in our life. We don't know how to digest them. Many different things. But you're always there and unchanging. But Heavenly Parent, also, you've given us such a blessing to be able to have such a rich amazing experiences in life, to have families and to raise children and to be around aunts and uncles and amazing people in our life. And if we choose to embrace it, if we choose to embrace these things, then how much you have prepared for us to be able to experience in our life, Heavenly Parent. All with the heart that you want us to be like you. You want us to understand what it means to love and to be loved in a way that we could never understand any other way, Heavenly Parent. And there's difficulties that come along with that. But Heavenly Parent, I hope that we can turn our eyes towards you in those difficulties to appreciate, Heavenly Parent, understand the journey that we're going through. Can't always change the things that have happened, Heavenly Parent, but we know that you are with us every step of the way, and we thank you for your presence and your guidance in our lives. And I offer this prayer and this time together to you on behalf of our community and our names as Blessed Central Families. Amen and adieu. Thank you.